Here's a fact about this NBA Finals that should stop you cold. The two head coaches on opposite benches fighting for a championship both learned the job from the exact same man. They're rivals tonight, but they're branches of the same tree. And that man, the root of it all, isn't even coaching in this series. His fingerprints are just on both sides of it. Let me explain how one coach quietly took over the entire league. That man is Gregg Popovich, the winningest coach in NBA history, 5-time champion, and the most influential basketball mind of his generation. But his biggest legacy might not be his own banners. It might be the army of coaches he trained, who then spread across the league and started winning everything. This finals is the ultimate proof of that. This is Game is Culture. Real quick before we dig in, if you like breakdowns that connect the dots most people miss instead of just yelling takes at you, go hit subscribe. It's free and it genuinely helps, so click it. First, the coach on the Knicks bench. Start with Mike Brown, the head coach of the New York Knicks. Long before he ran his own teams, Brown was an assistant in San Antonio, learning at Popovich's side during the early 2000s. He was on the staff for a Spurs championship. Everything he knows about defense, structure, and culture traces back to those years under Pop. The Knicks' identity is, in a real sense, a Popovich identity. Now the coach on the Spurs bench. On the other side stands Mitch Johnson, the Spurs head coach, and his connection is even more direct. Popovich personally hired Johnson as an assistant in 2019, mentored him for years, and then handpicked him to take over. When Pop stepped down after 29 seasons, Johnson got the keys. He isn't just from the tree, he is the chosen heir to the throne itself. So look at this finals for what it really is. On one bench, the assistant Pop trained 2 decades ago. On the other, the successor Pop trained and chose himself. 2 coaches, 1 teacher. Whoever wins this title, the trophy goes to a member of the Popovich coaching family. He can't lose this series because in a way, he's already won it. And here's the wild part. This isn't even rare for Popovich. Having 2 of your former coaches meet in a finals sounds like a once-in-a-lifetime event. For Pop, it's just the latest example of a takeover that's been happening across the entire league for years. So let's zoom out and see how deep this tree really goes. The whole tree. Walk through the branches. Steve Kerr left San Antonio's orbit and won multiple titles in Golden State. Mike Budenholzer, a longtime Pop assistant, won a championship of his own. Ime Udoka coached his way to a finals. Quinn Snyder, Will Hardy, Becky Hammon, James Borrego, on and on. For 2 decades, the fastest way to become an NBA head coach has been to first sit on Gregg Popovich's bench. Add it up and it's staggering. Popovich's disciples have collected championships, finals appearances, and Coach of the Year awards all over the league. A huge share of the sport's recent success traces directly back to one bench in San Antonio. No other coach in basketball history has produced a tree anything close to this productive. It isn't a coincidence, it's a system being copied. Quick interruption because now's the time. If you're enjoying this, hit subscribe. I'm not going to beg, but I am going to ask. So hit it and I'll keep going. So why does the tree keep winning? It comes down to what Popovich actually teaches, not just plays, but a philosophy. Relentless defense, unselfish ball movement, and a culture where the team always comes before the individual. Those ideas travel. A coach can take that blueprint to any city with any roster and build a winner. So Pop didn't just teach coaches, he gave them a portable formula for success. And there's a human side too. Popovich is famous for developing people, not just employees. He pushed his assistants to think, to argue, to lead. So they didn't leave as clones reading his script. They left as confident decision makers, ready to run their own teams their own way. That's why the tree produces leaders, not just understudies. He raised coaches, not followers. Now the honest pushback.
Let's be fair, because coaching trees get romanticized. Not every Popovich assistant succeeded. Several got head coaching jobs and flamed out. And great coaches usually get hired by teams that already have talent. So some of this is having good players, not just good teaching. The tree is real, but it isn't magic. Talent still wins games. But here's why it still stands out. Even accounting for all of that, no other coach comes close to this rate of producing winners. One flameout here or there doesn't erase a tree that put both coaches in a finals and won titles across multiple franchises. When the pattern repeats this many times in this many cities, it stops being luck and starts being a method. So when you watch this series, watch the sidelines, not just the stars. Two men in different colored suits trying to beat each other with the same lessons, taught by the same teacher. Gregg Popovich isn't on either bench, but make no mistake, this is his finals. And in some form, it's been his league for 20 years. And the influence runs deeper than wins and losses. Watch how these teams behave. The ball moves. Players hold each other accountable. Nobody is bigger than the group. Those aren't accidents. They're Popovich values, replanted in new cities by coaches who lived them. So even teams Pop never touched directly now play a version of his basketball, passed down through his disciples. It also changed how the whole league hires. For years now, front offices have treated time on Popovich's staff like a stamp of approval. A Pop assistant doesn't just know schemes. They know how to build a culture, how to handle stars, how to lead grown men. That reputation got so strong that being from the tree could fast-track a coach to a head job almost on its own. And consider how few coaches ever build anything like this. Most great coaches are remembered for their own banners. Very few create a lineage that outlives their own career. Pop did both. He won 5 titles himself, and then seeded the league with people who kept winning without him. That second act is what separates a great coach from a founding father of the sport. There's a humility lesson buried in it too. Popovich was famous for hiring people smarter than himself in certain areas, and then actually listening to them. That's exactly why his assistants grew into leaders instead of yes men. A lot of powerful coaches surround themselves with people who only agree. Pop built a room full of future head coaches completely on purpose. So this finals is really a tribute, whether anyone says it out loud or not. 2 of his people carrying his lessons, fighting for the sport's biggest prize. The banners Pop won will slowly fade into history, but a coaching tree like this keeps growing, keeps winning, and keeps spreading his fingerprints across the game long after he's gone. And it raises a fascinating question about the future. Who's next? Every season, more branches sprout. Today's assistants on these benches become tomorrow's head coaches, carrying the same lessons to new cities. The tree didn't stop growing when Popovich stepped down. If anything, it accelerated because now his disciples are training disciples of their own. So the influence compounds. Decades from now, coaches who never met Gregg Popovich will still be running his offense and preaching his values without even realizing where it all came from. So I'll leave it with you. Is the Popovich coaching tree the greatest leadership pipeline in sports history? Or do great coaches just get great jobs? Tell me where you land down in the comments. And if you enjoyed this video, please be sure to subscribe. We're in a race to 1,000 subscribers, so please join the family.